Wow, this is so awesome! This is a real sports car. Yeah! Let's go!
It's a rental car, but just wait. If I make it big with Bitcoin, this car will soon be ours. Huh? What's that? Is he following us?
Honey, are you allowed to drive the customers' cars?
No way. He's supposed to pick it up tomorrow, so he'll never know. And when do we ever drive a fancy car like this? Even if you ask that, you don't look worried at all.
It's because I like it too. I wish this car was ours.
No way.
Woo! Hurry, let's go! Woohoo!
What are you trying to do? Watch this. What's wrong with him? How dare you try to pass a Benz?
Honey, beat him! Beat him!
What the f? Reckless and violent driving. This is all too common. Due to two parties driving recklessly, an avoidable accident took place, which killed an entire whole family.
This happened to one of my friends who lived alone in city for work. She couldn't recognize the voice.
Hello, you live in Unit 301, right?
She thought it was suspicious, asking the address from the start.
Don't worry, I'm just here to help. Seems like you just got out of the shower wearing different pajamas from yesterday.
She hung up with fear. She felt creepy and closed the curtain in a hurry. She thought, since when had he been peeping on me? Her fear got her even more confused. She calmed herself, then picked up the phone to call the police. The moment, her phone started ringing again.
Don't hang up. Please listen to what I say.
It was the man.
I'm here to help. If I was peeping on you, why would I even bother trying to let you know? There has been someone under your bed for past few days. Just pretend this as a casual phone call and leave the unit before he notices.
She had no other option but to believe what the man said. Who would expose of his own crime? She decided to listen to the man over the phone. As the man said, she pretended having a casual conversation on the phone and headed to the door. All she had in her head was that she needed to get out of the unit immediately. The moment she reached the doorknob, she felt another unexplainable fear. Before she unlocked the door, she locked the door chain. Then, she opened the door. The moment, a stranger was forcing the door open as strong as he could. The guy said,
"You're even more beautiful watching down here."
She closed the door immediately, then called the police, but the man was already gone. What would have happened if she hadn't locked the door chain? Until now, she still suffers from the fear and always leaves the curtains closed.
There was a young man who wanted to be a great actor. He had practiced acting since he was a little kid. Nothing would make him happier in life than for the chance to be the main character in a play, even if he can only do it once. However, he always failed all of his auditions. Even if he passed an audition and got the role, it wouldn't last long. Another actor took his role. There's no problem with his voice. attitude, and appearance. But directors thought he couldn't get immersed well in his role. Some of them criticized that his acting was no better than a zombie. Living life as an unknown actor for a long time was exhausting. He couldn't keep living with his low income and started to avoid friends. He depended on alcohol, and dependency turned into addiction. And finally, he became an alcoholic. He is now homeless. No desires, no money. Just spent his life on the streets. Only an empty liquor bottle stayed with him. One day, he saw an advertisement hiring an actor for a little role in a play. Not a main character or a supporting role, but it grabbed his attention. The role was an alcoholic homeless who had lost everything. Exactly like him. He participated in the audition, which might be the last one of his life. His voice was far different than the other actors. His look was no longer attractive. In fact, it was far below average. And there was no flexibility for dynamic scenes on the stage. However, the directors and writers were all impressed by his acting. Lack of acting tone and flexibility was no problem. He had a character in his soul. He was desperate, and his hopeless eyes won their focus. Perfectly fit costume and stench. All judges complimented his soulful acting and great preparation. He was casted. Their eyes were correct. The play was a huge success, and he became famous in a short time. Audiences and reviewers praised his acting and said his acting was reality. Eventually, I can be a main character, he thought. He appreciated everything. But there was a problem. During the practice for a new performance, his acting was terrible. The director blamed him and asserted the main character must be changed. There was no soul in his acting. He had to think about the role. He realized he needed an experience like the last time. Not much time left. The play opens tomorrow. He got a little drunk and stood up. He seemed determined and headed to the director, who blamed his acting. Next day, the theater was packed. The audience expected a lot from his performance. The actor, who was covered with the alcoholic soul in the last play, will thrill them again. The tickets sold out very quickly. When the play started, the audience was shocked. No one could review this play. He did a sensational reality performance.